Hi, welcome back, and thanks for tuning in to Aklilu Real Estate. I hope your summer's off to a great start and you're having plenty of fun in the sun. Have you heard news of a market shift or a housing bubble lately? Let's demystify those two phrases together and talk about what's actually going on. So getting right into it, when I think of a housing bubble, I think of 2008 and really prior to that, about 8 years prior to that, the dot-com era. Chairman Alan Greenspan had coined a phrase which was called irrational exuberance. So you fast forward to 2007, 2008 regarding the housing crisis and the bubble that had built up. It really involved a lot of, there was a lot of exuberance, and it was irrational in the sense that even, the lending standards were very lax. There was, a lot of different types of loans that just, would make you almost wonder what were they thinking. But, little to no documentation. There were subprime loans for, borrowers with less than stellar credit and who were being charged a whole lot more in interest rates. There was, appreciation that was going on due to the speculation that was, unheard of in the double digits. Generally, housing has never seen that type of appreciation occur up until that point. So anyways, that all ended up obviously unfolding into the housing crisis and catastrophe of 2008, which I'm sure some of you or most of you have at least either experienced or heard of. And that being said, that's what I think of when housing bubble comes into mind. As far as a market shift, I would say a market shift is think of a pendulum that's kind of rocking side to side, and there's a shift occurring. But could a shift lead to a bubble? It's possible. It's theoretically possible. Is it probable? Time would remain to see, but highly unlikely. We fast forward to today's market. In fact, since 2008, lending has changed completely, including Dodd-Frank laws with appraisals, doing separation of church and state, so you don't have just inflation of home prices occurring at the whim of lax lending standards and stuff like that. So anyways, folks who are anyone who's tried to get a loan recently, or in the last 12 years, knows underwriting is cumbersome, it's stringent, you have to be qualified, you have to meet the guidelines of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, or other guidelines that are just as strict if not stricter. So today's standards, and you're putting also no more 100% loans, you're putting minimum down payments of 3.5% or 5% or whatever that may be depending on what program you're doing. But the point is today folks who are getting their loans and owning their properties are much more well qualified. Now, obviously, we have different variables going on, and I know this can get really deep, and we can get more into the variables and the nuts and bolts of it. So without delving too much into all of these variables, the reality is that there is and has been a shortage of inventory, basically not enough sellers, and there's been a lot and high amount of demand in terms of a lot more buyers than sellers. Now, another thing to be aware of, you got to look at news and determine what kind of news are you listening to, because news can be geared towards nationally, it can be geared regionally, or it can be geared locally. And even when we delve into those variables, even in our local area here, the DMV market, which happens to be a pretty robust area, our local economy is pretty robust, and but different counties or neighborhoods or subdivisions, they're going to be affected differently in certain ways for one reason or another, and you really need someone who understands why and how they ebb and they flow with what's going on with their characteristics and the type of sales that are occurring and prices and whatever may be going on. So anyways, with this all being said, I know that currently inflation, energy prices and food prices are literally affecting everyone. So that is having a profound effect on everyone, including the market, as well as the interest rates going up. It's still boggling if you're a buyer and you were trying to buy something 3.5 months ago and your interest rate was 3% or 3.5%. And now, you're looking at 5.5%. So it doesn't feel good. And it doesn't feel good when you're, at the pump or you're at the grocery store and, everything is costing a lot more money. So this is clearly creating a shift that is occurring in people's attitudes and in their, the way that they think things, and obviously on their bottom line and their budgets. So what's happening and what is going to need to happen too is adjustments. You have to really adjust the way you think in terms of how you spend and what you're going to spend on. But what I would say is, listen, if you need a home and you're qualified, buy a home. If you need to sell your home and it makes sense for you to sell your home. What's going to happen in the near future, I can't say. But what I can tell you is that we're in a much healthier economic position in terms of fiscal soundness with regards to these past 12 years and the buyers who've been buying homes than we were when we were leading up to 2008. So there should be a distinction that's made between that. That all being said, listen, I'm more than happy to get into any kind of details with you with regarding the nuts and bolts of all of this and these variables. But I would say that take the economics serious. If you recall, we had mentioned this some time ago. I think we were pretty early on it, and we talked about diminishing purchasing power. It's here, and it's purchasing power has diminished, but you got to re-examine your financial and fiscal soundness and try to figure out what makes the most sense. But anyways, that being said, listen, if you need any help, any suggestions, I'm here. It's truly my honor to help in whatever way I can with regards to your real estate goals and desires and home ownership. Feel free to reach out, okay? Thank you so much. Continue to enjoy your summer. I'll be in touch with you soon.